Sixto. There could not be a better name.
I love the names on this team. They have Sixto Sanchez, and they have my favorite name probably in baseball right now, Jazz Chisholm.
To win a championship, not only do you need great players on the court, but you need good chemistry, which takes time to develop.
It's weird how the dynamic works between sports. But
showing emotion in baseball is terrible and should never be in the game.
Blame Luke Walton for that. They have a lot of young players that I believe can really excel in this league.
Corey Perry will give some veteran presence to the Canadians and to just help give some insights on what he did last year.
Justin Fields is a all-time talent, and we definitely need to take into consideration his health.
This was a trade that the Senators really hope would work out, as Matt Murray has won the Cup 2 times.
Even though this is Mr. Irrelevant, he may be Mr. Playing Time after this season's over.
Just amazing, and I don't care what the Red Sox got for trading Mookie Betts and David Price. The Dodgers, in my opinion, win it. I don't have to see what players they gave up.
Charlie McAvoy also is, I think, a Norris contender, a top 5 Norris contender this year.
When Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones make jokes about not valuing the safety position, well, we can make jokes about you not being in Super Bowl for 20-something years, but
I feel like Luka will take that next step, and if he can get a 3 ball consistently around 35%, I feel like they could become a contender.
It just goes to show the offense for the Dallas Stars could not keep up, and when the defense needed to step up, the Lightning's offense just overpowered them.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
What's up, everyone? This is Justin Goldman from the Goalie Guild and Lift the Mask, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Austin and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our 56th episode. Last episode, we did an NHL Playoffs preview. That was not a predictions video because this episode is our predictions video. So make sure to check out our preview if you just want to get a little bit about the teams, some key injuries, their last 10 games, and all that. But this is our predictions video, and Austin and I will be facing off together once again. Hopefully, I can pull off the upset, but not likely. However, so the point system for this will be whoever gets the right team is 2 points. But if you get the right amount of games, so if Austin says 5 and it was 5, he gets an extra point. But if you didn't get the team, he doesn't get the 2 points. So that's just how it goes. And then we will be reviewing rounds, but that will not be part of this. This is where the match-off begins. So we will be starting with the first round. Austin, I will let you talk about your first round picks.
Yeah, so my first round picks go as follows. So we have in the first round, the first series is the Penguins versus the Islanders. This is a highly anticipated series for me, as like I said, Barry Trotz, like I said in the last video, Barry Trotz has a lot of familiarity with the Penguins. So I feel like this will be a tough matchup. However, I have the Penguins winning in 7 games. For my next for the next series between the Capitals and the Bruins, this is another hard fought Eastern Series. Zdeno Chara last year and many years before that played with the Bruins, and this year is playing with the Capitals. So I anticipate a heavy hitting series. But I see the Bruins winning in 6 games. The next series is between the Hurricanes and the Predators, and as we mentioned last time, the Hurricanes have lost their last 2 games against the Predators, despite the fact that they hold a season record against them of 6-2. And I think the Hurricanes will continue their year-long success and win in 5 games. The next series is the Panthers versus the Lightning. This is going to be one of the best series the first round has had in years. I'm very excited to watch this series, and I think the Lightning will win in 7 games. Next, it's Maple Leafs versus the Canadiens. I said this last time. I really do not believe this will be a close series, and I have the Canadiens losing in 5 games, so the Maple Leafs win in 5. Next, the Oilers will match up against the Jets. Winnipeg's not played well as of late. We mentioned last time that they're 2-8 in their last 10, and they've really struggled mightily against teams in even the Northern Division, which is known, or at least perceived to be the worst division. And so I have the Oilers winning in 6. I think the Jets with their experience can pull out maybe 2 games, and so I'm gonna have it going to 6. However, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a sweep or a gentleman's sweep that did occur between these two teams, as the Oilers are a high-powered offense and the Jets have struggled on defense lately. The last 2 series, both coming from the Western Division, is the Avalanche versus the Blues. I believe the Blues are starting to play some of their best hockey all year, and so they can push this to 6 games. But I saw the Avalanche, uh, the team with the who has the highest seed, quote unquote, for the playoffs this year. Whether or not that's given to them by having an easier easier division than the East, but that's neither here nor there. And so I have them winning in 6, the Avalanche winning 6 over the Blues. And lastly, but not least, I have the Golden Knights and Wild having a very tough, grinded out series where the Wild pull it out in 7 games. As we mentioned last time, the Wild do hold the season record against them of 5-3, so they are the only team with an advantage, and I believe they will continue that advantage. And with Kirill Kaprizov going on a tear along with Jordan Greenway, the rest of this crew, Kevin Fiala, yeah, I just feel like the Wild can pull this out and be one of those good story teams for the season. What is your first round predictions for this year?
That's I'll get to that just in a moment, but you and I had some similar picks. So before we get to that, I just want to say Austin and I did not look at each other's things, our picks, but we talked about them. But that we no way influenced ours. But so we'll get to you'll see some familiarity, but like the NFL draft episode, it's just kind of dumb luck. But for the Penguins versus the Islanders, I have the Penguins winning. Versus the Islanders, I think the Islanders they played really well, and this is a really tough division. But I have the Penguins winning in 5, just because I think the Penguins are gonna try to go far. So I have them winning. Now I go to the Capitals versus the Bruins. Capitals, that will be a nice thing to see how Chara interacts with the Capitals, his former team. Bruins, his former team. But I mostly picked this because of the depth of the Bruins goalie. We saw how Khudobin, just playing so well, affected or pushed the Stars into the Stanley Cup Finals. So I'm not sure if Rask, he's definitely capable of it, but there's also Swayman, who we've talked about off the podcast with Justin Goldman, and he had some excellent thoughts about Swayman and how his training regimen has really helped him break out this year. So that's why I have the Bruins winning in 6. Now I have the Hurricanes versus the Predators. I agree with you, Austin. The Hurricanes, they haven't played against the Predators in the last 2 games. They lost, but I have them winning here in 5. Then I have the Panthers versus the Lightning. Goalies is going to be a constant theme for me. So Vasilevsky's been playing really well, and the Lightning have a great offense. And Ekblad being out, and then his replacement, Sam Bennett, being out for the first game, I think is going to affect the first game, and hopefully he can come back and make it a closer series. But I have the Lightning winning in 6. Then the Maple Leafs versus Canadiens. Maple Leafs just have such a great such a great depth on offense. So I have them winning in 5. And then the Oilers versus the Jets. Jets haven't been playing well. Oilers, you got a great offense with Connor McDavid. So I have them sweeping them. So my first sweep in the first round. Now the Avalanche versus the Blues. It's definitely going to be tough, but I have the Avalanche winning in 6. I think they're really determined this year to get farther into the playoffs. Now I got the Golden Knights versus the Wild. This is where I disagree with Austin on the winner, even though I do believe it's going to be a hard-fought series. So I have it going to 7 as well. So Golden Knights beat the Wild in 7 games. So I think we can move on to the second round, unless, Austin, you have some final thoughts.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that it's going to come down to a close series, especially in the Wild, and us going separate ways. There's definitely, I mean, we're just flipping a coin at that point. I feel like both teams are very skilled, and it's going to be a hard-fought series. But to go on to my second round, the Penguins will face the Bruins, and I have the Penguins winning in 7. I feel like Crosby's on a mission this year, and the way Chris Letang is playing is really going to help push them over the edge. Next is the Hurricanes versus the Lightning. I feel like the Lightning, after going to a 7-game series against the Panthers, will be worn down, and the Hurricanes' 5-game series against the Predators will go by rather easily. So I have the Hurricanes winning in 5 over the Lightning. Next, the Oilers and Maple Leafs will match up where the Maple Leafs will have home ice advantage. I have the Maple Leafs winning in 6. I just feel like this season against the Oilers, they've really shown out. The Oilers were shut out in back-to-back games against the Maple Leafs earlier this year, where Jason Spezza was going off in the Maple Leafs, and it's just probably one of the best depth teams, scoring-wise, at least on the offensive side, that the Maple Leafs have ever had in their entire history of hockey, and I definitely think this is a good team. Next, it's Avalanche versus the Wild. While I do believe that the Wild are definitely prepared for this moment, I have the yeah, and the Avalanche are as well. I just feel like the Wild are going to win this series also in 7 games. Jordan Greenway is going to have a bigger impact than you think. A 6'6" guy with his ability to pass is just it's impressive. Kevin Fiala is also a great goal scorer, and Kaprizov is their best point getter. Cam Talbot, I believe, will have a great series here, and Nathan McKinnon and his crew will be shut down again in the conference semifinals.
Some interesting picks. Austin definitely making some claims, but we'll see if they happen in the second round. For my second round, I disagree with you. I have the Bruins in 6, mostly because of the goalie depth I mentioned with Swayman and Rask. And Rask definitely has been a goalie for a long time and a magnificent goalie. So I have them. I think he's going to be a key part in keeping the Penguins' offense, keeping the pucks from going in the net. And then I think the Bruins, they do have a good offense. So I think from that depth with Taylor Hall, they will get a few pucks in the net. So I have them winning in 6. Then the Hurricanes versus the Lightning. It's very tough, any sport, but especially in the Stanley Cup. It's hard to get back and to get back-to-back wins. And I would see the Lightning doing it here. So I have them losing to the Hurricanes in 6. Even though Vasilevsky, I think, will do well. The Hurricanes just have some great depth, and I think that will help them a lot. Now I have the Maple Leafs versus the Oilers. I have Maple Leafs in 7. Some 2 great offenses, and it's going to be really tough. But we've seen Jack Campbell. He's starting to go on a roll. But I have this one just because of Maple Leafs' offensive depth. And you have Austin Matthews. He's playing incredible. Now, this is a matchup I wish we could have later on in the Stanley Cup, but just because of the division and how it was worded, the Avalanche. I have the Avalanche versus the Golden Knights. If in a normal year, it'd probably be the Stanley Cup the Western Conference Finals, for these two teams, but it's just how the world shakes out. So I have the Avalanche in 7. I think this is going to be a really tough series, and the Golden Knights just can't pull it. I really think the Avalanche are determined this year. All right, so Austin, any final thoughts before we enter into the semifinal and your picks?
Yeah, so I definitely believe that Avalanche versus Golden Knights series would probably be in the Western Conference Finals if it was a normal year, but this isn't a normal year, so I think that's why I made the picks I did. So let's move on to the conference finals, semifinals weirdness. So all the teams for all the viewers, the teams will be reseeded based on their points percentage after all the rounds between the teams in their own division, this is the first one without that. So they will be reseeded. So in mine, the 1 seed would be the Hurricanes, the 2 seed would be the Penguins, the 3 seed would be the Maple Leafs, and the 4 seed would be the Wild. So the Penguins and Maple Leafs, I'll just mention that one first. I would have the Penguins winning in 5 games. The Penguins, like I said, being the 2 seed, and I just feel like the Maple Leafs, they're going to have a great future. I just don't feel like this is their year. The Penguins, they're getting older. We have them on our Stanley Cup or bust because we know that their age is a really big factor. Crosby is getting older and he's still amazing. Malkin needs another, and I think playoff Malkin will come through. But the Maple Leafs, great team. Like I said, I wish them the best in the future. Even though I'm a Boston Bruins fan, I just don't see this being their year. Next year they may be, uh, they may make it further. Next, Hurricanes versus the Wild, the 1 versus the 4. I have the Hurricanes winning in 6 games. I feel like Kaprizov will make an impact, and that's why they can win 2 games. However, the Hurricanes just have too much. They're probably the most complete team this year, and I anticipate them winning. What about you, Kevin?
Interesting picks. So I'll just go through my reseeding. So my number 1 is the Avalanche, and then the second seed is Carolina. Third seed is the Maple Leafs, and then fourth is the Boston Bruins. So I have the Avalanche versus the Bruins. This is a really tough matchup for the Bruins. So I have the Avalanche winning in 5 just because I think they're really determined. So I'm not sure how far the goalie depth gets the Bruins. I have them just getting 1 game, but I could see more. It's just really tough. Now I have the Hurricanes versus the Maple Leafs. You talked about the Maple Leafs. I think they are a team. Maybe next year will definitely do well. But I have them winning this series in 6. So I just think offensively is going to help them a lot. And even though you mentioned Hurricanes are good at depth, I just think the Maple Leafs pull it off. There'll be a little surprise. Well, not sort of a surprise, but living up to the high potential that they've earned this season. But now I think we can move into our Stanley Cup picks. And Austin, I'll let you start it off.
Yeah, so my Stanley Cup picks, it's obviously the 1 and 2 seed of my uh, final 4, I guess you could say, and the Hurricanes versus the Penguins. I have the Hurricanes pulling it off and becoming Stanley Cup champions, getting to hold the Stanley Cup in 6 games. Vincent Trocheck is my Conn Smythe winner. I just feel like he, after a long tenure with the Florida Panthers, has really come through this season, and he'll be the catalyst to help push them over the top. Penguins are a great team, and I don't know how much longer of great hockey they have as their core is getting older, and we all know it. But this was a great season by both of these teams, and I would love to watch this matchup happen in real life. What about you?
Yeah, I'm really excited for my matchup. Is the Avalanche versus the Maple Leafs. I have the Avalanche winning in 7. I think it's going to be an incredible series if this does happen. Maple Leafs have a great offense, so do the Avalanche. And I think we talked about the Maple Leafs. They've kind of started like getting Stanley Cup hype. The Avalanche have been doing for this for a couple of years. They were very sad when they lost to the Stars in Game 7. So I have them this year. They're going to go all the way, and I have them winning. And my Conn Smythe winner is McKinnon, Nathan McKinnon, such a great center. So I have him really pushing the Avalanche to win this in 7, and it's going to be a really hard fought series. Any final thoughts for this episode, Austin?
Uh, Not really. I mean, I've been excited for the NHL playoffs this whole season. It's been a weird year. It's only a 56 game schedule. And I'm very excited. And while I don't have my Bruins going far, I mean, it's always a good surprise when your team that you don't expect, especially if it's your favorite team, makes it further than you anticipate. So I'm really excited, and I'm conflicted between wanting my predictions to be right and wanting my team to go the furthest. But if my bracket's ruined because my favorite team makes it far, I'm all cool with that. What about you?
If they make it far, I'll be happy because I have them going far until they face the Avalanche. And just a reminder, our scoring is 2 for the winner, no matter the amount of games, a point for the game, no matter the winner. So Austin and I can get the most out of points in each series, 3. If you want to follow along, we appreciate that. Let us know in the comments what do you think. Do you totally disagree with all our picks? That's totally fine. Just talk to us in the comments. And thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.